Hi everyone, it's Roger and Jeremy here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Iron Man 2 as part of our retro reviews. So let's talk about Iron Man 2. The reason we picked this one is with Black Widow coming up in May. Well, this is her origin story. This is where she makes her debut, and kind of funny watching this back because I think this is kind of considered in the low tier Marvel movies. This is kind of like maybe one step up in most people's opinion from Dark World, and I kind of got to the end of watching it and went, it's not that bad. I kind of liked it. It was simple. There's a load of things that it was definitely much in an earlier stage of the MCU, but I thought it did a fantastic job in setting Black Widow up as the assassin, and her skills. I also, more of Tony, can't go wrong with that one. And I kind of quite digged Whiplash as a villain. The only thing I didn't like, why they had to go and put him into another robot machine. It's like, it's the one thing with Iron Man. It's like, you don't need to put every single one of your opponents into a machine, into a robot. It's like, you did that in the first movie. You didn't need to do it in the second one. You could have had him do something a little bit different. But I really liked it. I mean, I loved the whole scene in Monaco. With the car racing, and just as a whole, I enjoyed it. I got to the end and went, I didn't feel like I wasted my time watching it again and going. I was kind of like, I don't remember as much of this as I thought I did, but I'm really glad that I did spend that time. I think it definitely helped set me up a little bit more for Black Widow. What about you?
I do find it to be very lower tier. I need to watch Thor: The Dark World again to determine if I actually think this one is a step up above it, or if this is the worst of the MCU, in my opinion. That being said, the worst of the MCU is still better than the best of the DCEU.
Hold on, I just hear those comments coming in there.
Maybe not Wonder Woman, but the first Wonder Woman.
I still haven't got around to seeing the second one.
Yeah, I did like the intro to Black Widow. They handled her very well. I liked elements of Whiplash. I didn't like the suit again, and I didn't like that he was just employed by Justin Hammer, being a lesser Obadiah Stane. It's like they took the things that were interesting about Jeff Bridges' character in the first one and split it into two things. All right, well, you got the nerd and you got the grunt man who's smart enough to be everything. He just doesn't have the money. I mean, Whiplash was smarter than Justin Hammer, really, in there. It's just Hammer has money.
I like the whole thing of them being in court, and the whole thing with Hammer and them trying to copy but then we just had this massive just robots after robots after robots fighting iron suits of just like it's like saying of like, at the time it was still very generic, but we've kind of moved on from there. There's no way they could get away with this now. There's no way they could get away. This would be panned. But I still enjoyed it. It's still up there. It's still a very enjoyable movie. And like I said, there's just parts, just more of Iron Man, more of War Machine as well, just more of him being in there and being, the whole thing of like them, just him being allowed to be shown as being something different, and sort of taking on the mantle of Iron Man in the government's eyes because he's a bit more trusted. But that didn't turn out to be right. But yeah, I just remember just get to the end of it going, wow, that was a lot. I mean, I hate to break it, but I do want to kind of watch Dark World before Loki arrives, and it's kind of one of those things of, it's that trouble isn't it? Of if you've got like 20 plus amazing movies, if whenever you rank them, the bottom ones, like you say, are still better than so many of the other superhero movies. It's just in some ways it was a stepping stone to Avengers in helping getting Black Widow involved, but it helped us do more Iron Man. I mean, it was a big success in terms of what it was, but in the long scheme, most of us are going to forget about it.
Yeah, it's a lower, lesser version of the first one at times. The Monaco scene is great. I agree with you there completely. That is awesome. But a lot of the other stuff, just it reminds me of the first Transformers movie. I can put it on, I enjoy it, but if I try to actually critique it, I'm like, ooh, that didn't hold up as well.
Yeah, you don't go after Transformer movies with me, I'm afraid, because they are like top tier. I love them. They're like, it's like like every single time Transformers movies comes on, my wife goes, we're sat in like, I'll flick over. It's like I've seen them all so many times, and it doesn't matter which one. And I prefer the first couple, but there is that kind of thing of just like, you said, you're just a big kid. You just love it, and I think with Iron Man, it kind of in that definitely I kind of feel that feeling of lots of CGI things, lots of robots, lots of things flying around. I like the whole thing of, I mean, I thought there was a few things in that, like his dad had like built this whole thing with the map that always reminds me of how Walt Disney, what they did with that one there. And it's just like, and yeah, but why your dad would hid how to build it inside of them, and like,
and just why would he think you would keep that and just randomly find it? It doesn't hold up to critique very well, in my opinion, but it's fun to watch. Absolutely. I like throwing it on.
It's definitely, yeah. I was going to say it's a popcorn flick.
Yeah.
It very much kind of feels in that it's a summer blockbuster. You don't need to engage your brain too much. It's pretty good. I mean, if I was to give it a score out of 5, 3.54 around that territory. I mean, it's not anywhere near, but I enjoyed it. I don't feel like I wasted my time watching it again, even though I think I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now. I enjoyed it, but there is a lot of issues with it. And yeah, it might be one of the worst ones of the MCU, but it's a very high level bar.
Yeah,
it's like I still really enjoyed it. But what about you?
It's about 2.5 for me. It's very average. It's like I said, sometimes I feel like they sacrificed plot development just to get special effects, and I mean, I was like, did Michael Bay direct this movie?
Yeah, so you don't go after the Bay, because I love Bay. I see it's always that kind of thing. When everyone brings up like things with Michael Bay movies, I love them all. All those big action blow up movies of the scene where the camera pens around. I love all of that. I've seen them. It's like that's the kind of movie I just like to enjoy and watch. And Iron Man 2 was very much in that same territory of lots of nice looking things, lots of explosions, very simple plot. Doesn't need a lot to go on about it. It's not top tier, but it's a good way of just killing 2 hours and being, it's a showcase, is that kind of thing and that's what I think about Iron Man 2. But we'd love to know. Yeah, carry on.
It's a theme park ride. It's not to use the Martin Scorsese criticism of the MCU, but this movie is what I think of whenever I hear that. Is pretty much accurate when he says it.
If you'd actually in Hong Kong Disneyland, is it Hong Kong Disneyland, they have actually got an Iron Man attraction. So you go on it and it's basically like Star Tours, and you're flying around in a simulator and you're inside it when Iron Man's blowing, and it does, like you say, there's loads of robots that they're fighting, and it does kind of have that feel to it. And as a massive theme park nerd, I'm fine with going to the theme parks. Just if and I'm not going to be honest. Every time I've tried to watch a Martin Scorsese movie, I kind of turn it off because I get bored. If his was an amusement park, it'd probably be a museum. I'm not like, I'm just in that territory of like, whenever I try watching those kind of movies, it's like, this is just not what I'm into. I know there are a lot of people that like it though, but I like things blowing up. It's like, if you gave me a choice between
watch Goodfellas,
I'd rather watch a Michael Bay movie. So that's just me. But on that, let us know in the comments below what you'll think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember, if you are a patron or a YouTube channel member, you do get access to these episodes a little bit earlier than everybody else. You can also go check us out on the podcast, and you can subscribe on YouTube. Go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com, and we shall see you guys in another episode. Later.